Hello and welcome to today's video. This time we'll be having a look through all my vintage pickups for the month of April 2024 into early May. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay then, so we'll start off with a great one here. This is one, I'll try and remember where I got all of these, but it's been such a manic, like the last 4 weeks with trips to, I think 2 trips to Dorset Bob. I've been up to Morris at All You Need Is Books. I've visited a couple of bookshops as well. I've just been super busy and I can't quite remember where everything has come from. And this was a month that I was supposed to be not buying a lot because March was so mental. So, well, there you go. What can you say? So this one here, this 6-pan book of horror stories. This is an upgrade to the copy that I've already got. I have got the full set of Pan Book of Horror Stories in first printing, all 30 of them, but I think 6 of them are in not great shape. And this is one of the 6 that I had on my list to upgrade. That lovely cover there by W. Francis Phillips. The rat sat on top of the skull. Absolutely beautiful. A really nice, I would say, probably unread copy of that one. Classic stuff. I've got a very soft spot for these and in my nostalgic bank, as it were, because I loved them when I was growing up. They were the first sort of scary books I ever read, really, and that's a really nice copy of that one. I picked up a set, in actual fact, of these Fox novels published by New English Library in the 70s. I think it's 12 or 14 in the set. I think 2 of the ones I've got are reprints, which I'm not too fussed about because they've got the original jackets. And a couple of them I want to upgrade. But these were featured in a great article by Justin Marriott in the latest issue of the Paperback Fanatic. And I do like naval fiction. These are perhaps not the most accurate of naval fiction books out there, but they are fun all the same. And this one's the first from 75, and the New English Library, which is a publisher which I do believe is very, very hot. Also, once again, like the Pan one, there, look, W. Francis Phillips, William Francis Phillips. So it was won by that great artist who I really like. So we will see a few of these. Well, we'll see the whole set, in fact, of these Fox books. As I said, a couple of them are due to be, so they're on the upgrade list. They're letting the other ones down, basically. These are okay, very, very quick reads. I had a very small order from a Penguin specialist book dealer, and when I say small, it was about 6 or 7 books. So this is one of those. It was an odd Penguin handbook. I've got a reasonable run of these now, these handbooks. So I'm almost at the verge of doing like a collection tour of the Penguin handbooks. I'm just thinking of, I'll tie it in with another sort of more minor series so that the video is a little bit more worthwhile. And then as I keep filling in more gaps, I'll cover them again in a couple of years' time. But they are getting a little bit harder to find, I would say. Harry Harrison, great author. This was the last one I needed, in actual fact, in this Stars and Stripes alternate future trilogy. And I've got the other 2. This was the missing one. I got this one at Dorset Bob's, who I suspect that was where I picked up the first 2, but couldn't find the last one. This one had a little insertion. What is it? I always look at the insertions. A London Underground ticket. Looks like £1.60. And it was back in 1998 to Victoria. 6th of June 1998. Well, there you go. A couple more Foxes here coming up. So I filmed this the week I've come back from visiting Morris in Wiltshire. All You Need Is Books. I met my friend Steve up there, Steve the Outlaw bookseller, and we went and had a good look around Morris's £1 warehouse, and then we went to Morris's proper warehouse. This was a nice picador, a big thick one. I think this was with a trip with Dorset Bob. We went to the Crooked Book, I think I got this one from. And the big news from that visit, just as we were leaving, Morris said that he and Dorset Bob have been having a chat, and they're thinking of doing a paperback fair, a book sale, paperback fair, at Morris's new £1 a book sort of shop. and it is a shop. So when you've by the time you've see this video, you would have seen my recent visit to All You Need Is Books, and where Morris has his new shop, it really is. It's a proper retail shop now, and very nice it is too. And everything in there is just £1, which is fantastic. This is a little bit the worse for wear here. Yeah, everything £1. So what they're thinking of doing in a couple of months' time, so not long really to get planning, because of course we've got the next London paperback show in. But what they're planning is to have a big, it'll be outdoors. So that's why they're doing it in July. It'll be outdoors, but undercover in big gazebos. And they're going to have loads of dealers along. Obviously, Dorset Bob and Morris will have his entire £1 stock out for perusal. And you can imagine he will absolutely fill his shop to the brim. It's already quite full, but it'll be to the brim, and he'll have stalls outside as well. I don't think you'll be able to visit his regular warehouse because all of that's on the website, so he wouldn't be able to keep a track of it all. But yeah, I think it's going to be quite good. So as soon as we got the firm details, I'll obviously publicise it on the channel, because that's going to be something quite special, and it'll make a change to not have to go to London. You know, it's just, I said, in Wiltshire. The actual local railway station is Westbury, and it's just a couple of minutes from Westbury railway station is where it is in the train. You could even walk it. It's that close. So yeah, I think it's well worth a little trip if you're free that day. Now, this is a Maya Angelou who published quite a bit in her lifetime. This one, unfortunately, when I've gone through, I see it's got an owner's name there. Tomo with love, Mario. Well, there you go, Mario. I mean, it's a Virago. It's a first printing. These don't really turn up very often. I'd love to get her most famous one, which is I Know Why the Cage Birds Sing. But that was there, but it was fallen to bits, and it was a reprint. But yeah, this is the first Virago from 1985. I'm not going to go mad on my literary B format fiction, but when I see nice ones come along, I'm going to pick them up, including the next three, which were all by Italio Calvino, and they were from Dorset Bob. And I got him very quick with these because he knew I've been picking up the picadors, and these were really, really nice. Yeah, 1985. So that one, all they're going to need is a little polish this stuff in a while, brush and a polish. So I'm sorting them into A format and B format. Not a lot to that one, is there? And then we'll go through and give these. We have got, I've got to say, miles more to go through than I thought. But sometimes that's how it goes. This one looks brilliant, doesn't it? Very, very interesting. Yeah. The Castle of Crossed Destinies. Yeah, look at this. This was £1 when it first came out in Picador. When was this? 1978. Very, very nice. And I'm trying to be quite strict with my Picador, but sometimes, you know, the mood overtakes me. This one I got from another trip a couple of weeks back. This is to Jack Ryder's books in Liscard. And this was the only Picador I saw in the shop that I actually wanted, and Jack just gave me this for free. 1989. So my cutoff on these is, I think that's in pen, is sort of is 19. Well, I think it's going to be the year 2000 for Picador, but I am trying to focus more on the ones pre-1990, really, unless there's absolutely nothing else there to get your hands on. Heart of a Woman, another Maya Angelou. This was from Boscombe, and they were all £2 or £2.50. The James N. Cam was a £5, but I think she did give me a tiny bit off on that one. But it has got 5 books in, and the big thick picadors I think are the rarest of all, and there's a few of them. I'd love to get there's 3 volumes of Dashiell Hammett in picador, which I'd really like to get, but they are, I believe, a bit pricey. Julian Barnes here. This was Flaubert's Parrot. I don't think this is a tough one to get or anything like that. I have got a spreadsheet that I'm using for my picador pickups now. Yeah, it's first 85. A little bit worn, that one. Which I'll update once I do these cleaning sessions. I then take everything into the house, and I put it all into like piles by publishers, so like Penguin, Pan, by authors that I'm collecting, like Harry Harrison, for example. All the different things that have got their own sort of checklists and spreadsheets. Sometimes books are over 2 different checklists, but I put them all into the different piles, and then I spend an hour or 2 updating all my wants lists, which isn't a bad thing to do. It's the only real way to stay completely on top of it, because I've got the collection to such a stage now where most stuff has been catalogued. I am in the process of cataloguing my ISBN New English Libraries, and the only way to really do that is I'm doing them by author surname and title. And then the ones prior to that, of course, have got series numbers on. So there we are, Ball the Wall. A couple more before, another Julian Barnes. Staring at the sun. And then this is once again off the specialist Penguin dealer. This is a copy of Ulysses. This is Penguin 3000. I generally pick copies of this one up because it's quite sought after. And I'm after an absolutely really, really mint one myself. I think this is actually worse than the one I've already got, so I'll probably trade this one on. A little disappointed to see that on the back corner there. It's like it's been yeah, it's just been smashed in a little bit there, but it is the first printing, and yeah, 1969. It had a pretty big print run, Ulysses, in that edition, because it was such a anniversary, an anniversary one. Intelligent Parents Manual, another Penguin handbook. A little bit the worse for wear, but we've seen worse. Now this one is quite a rarity. This is The Happy Hypocrite, Max Beerbohm. This was an Alan Lane Christmas book. So Alan Lane, the creator of Penguin, I didn't pay that for it. That was slightly less than that, but it had £35 in. Once a year, he would release books that were what known as the Alan Lane Christmas books, and these were books that were sent out to his friends, family, and key accounts, key Penguin accounts, basically, usually with a limited edition. Sometimes they're signed. This is the earliest one I've got of the Christmas books. It's from Christmas 1948, and this would have had a print run of 500, something like that, 500 to 1,000. Very, very scarce indeed. Sometimes I've got a few of these different ones from different years. Sometimes they come with Christmas cards, sometimes they come signed. There's a beautiful Robert Graves one, which isn't actually too hard to find, of The Golden Ass, which is signed by Robert Graves and numbered. But that's one that still eludes me. Right, a few Puffins here. I've got a few. I didn't do bad on some Puffins. I got a handful of ones that I was missing. That was a little bit a little bit worn, but I can't complain too much. So in a lot of cases, I'm just glad to fill holes. I have sort of been quite strict on my puffins, but I'm at a stage now because I want to collect the numbering up to about 330, which is when ISBN sort of came in. I'm prepared to take lower grade copies to fill those gaps. So that was 158. This is number 153. This is another one. Beautiful, beautiful jacket on that one. They are very, very nice indeed, Puffin books. These Puffin storybooks. I prefer them to the Puffin picture books, although they have, of course, have got their charm as well. But I think Puffin storybooks, I remember reading so many of these as a kid. Stuff like this, I would have been all over. Absolutely all over that. 1961, this one. And this one is an upgrade. It's one I've already got. I don't know where I got this. It looks like it may have been a Dorset Bob since it's in a bag. It's a Hemingway. My Hemingway copy of this is really quite rough. So this is a most definite upgrade. Bright white paper. First from 1963. There is one odd Hemingway, which seemingly is later than this, like the late 60s, which seemingly is originally only got released in America. And all the British Penguin copies are export copies, and they've all got cents on. It does occasionally show up, but I haven't come across a copy in the UK. I've seen it in another person's collection, and I mailed them about it, and they can't remember where they actually got it, which wasn't a lot of help. This Foursquare, I'm trying to think. I think this one here was another one from Dorset Bob. This odd Foursquare. It's got $8 inside. Wow. Must have been one that Bob picked up in America. That was coming from somewhere in Swindon. Year's Best Science Fiction. Number 3. This is in Sphere. I've got a few of this series, these anthologies. It's predominantly picked up. Well, there's 2 reasons really. I like SF anthologies, and this is edited by Harrison and Aldis, both who I like, particularly Harry Harrison. An odd digit, but this was one that for a little while they did them under Cobra. This is a Lariat Western. It's number 23. Dorset Bob's been having a really good sort out and re-A to Zing his stock, and he. That's slightly misprinted, and he found even more Badger books, and this was one straight from that publisher find that he had, which was about 20 years ago now, but it was pretty much direct from the publisher's own stock. This is one I got recently at Morris's, the Pound Shop. It's a slightly later Penguin science fiction, but I've decided to pick up post ISBN, post number and into ISBN Penguin science fiction, and this is one such book, so that's good news. Once again, I was quite surprised to get this. This is an odd compact I'm missing. Now, it has got a couple of creases in the spine, but at the same time, I was down to needing 10 compact SF to have all the science fiction releases, and this is one of them. So I was really, really surprised, because I did sort of make it a bit of a vow to try and track down the compact SF that I was missing this year, and this is the first one I've actually managed to get. So that was good. And then this was bargain of the day from Morris's. Really, it was the Puffin edition of The Hobbit, Hobbit number 16, Puffin 161. Now, I know it's going to need a little bit of glue in there, but generally speaking, I mean, really, really fine copies of this I've seen sell for as much as £100 on eBay. It only ever had the one printing. It's because they offended Tolkien, because when they got the original sort of manuscript, somebody, and I don't know if it was Kay Webb, but somebody took it upon themselves to rename dwarfs and elves as elves and dwarfs. So they changed the spelling against Tolkien's sort of wishes. They thought he'd made a mistake, and of course he absolutely hadn't. They were very much designed to be like that. So he went mental and consequently really fell out with Penguin. And I would imagine that that cost Penguin dearly when the Lord of the Rings got published. So there you go. Anyway, I've got some bookbinding glue now, which I'm using in place of Pritt stick. And you can get quite, you can be quite accurate because it's got that little spout there. It dries completely clear. I've been experimenting on a couple of dodgy paperbacks that had really bad spines, and this has proved to be a little bit of a revelation. So we're going to give it a try. It does dry quite quickly. I'll squish it out onto my finger there, but that's okay. It's sort of, when you rub it in your hands like this, you've got a little bit of excess. It just sort of goes into, like, I don't know, sort of flakes away, if you know what I mean. So that's okay. Now this has definitely got a bit of spine roll. So it's been read a few times, and I'm not surprised. I absolutely love The Hobbit. It's a fantastic read. It really is great, and I remember reading it many times as a kid. I loved listening to the BBC adaptation of it as well, which was really good. But that, I think for now, is going to be all right. What I want to do, I've got a bulldog clip here. I just want to keep it in this sort of like that. It's just sort of forcing it in a way to stay a bit more solid, if that makes sense. And I'm going to leave that like that for the time being. But yeah, not a bad little find, that. Just £1. Right, cracking on then. We've got more Penguin science fiction, All the Colours of Darkness. I can't remember if I actually needed this one or not, so I picked it up on the off chance. I'm not going to go wrong, even if it's one that I've already got. Yeah, 1966. Do like Penguin science fiction. This is one from Morris's £1 shop. It's a Penguin book of English short stories. They did a few of these, and I think I've got French, I've got Italian, not American. I'm not sure how many others were actually in the series, but I didn't have the English ones, so that was all right. Looks like it's got a little remnant of a price in there somewhere. So nothing too special, but for £1 I didn't mind. Ballantine, this was really nice. This is once again in Morris's £1 section, so I was pleased to get this one. I do like Ballantine books. Lovely. Fairly early, sort of mid-60s Foursquare science fiction. Cyril Judd, not an author I know a lot about, but that one wasn't too bad condition-wise. This is £1. And this one, which I thought was great, Morris had 2 copies of this. I pulled out the best-looking one, quite a thin little tome. Lovely, lovely cover on it. Only 112 pages, so not a lot to it. But it looks like a bit of fun. As I said, it appears to me that New English Library, even though their page quality is utterly rubbish, it really is. This is a perfect example of New English Lavatory, as they were nicknamed. It's not a lovely book to behold, but at the same time, this is almost 50 years old, this one, Look at that, some New English Library bestsellers at the back there. And there's a few there, certainly recognisable titles, that's for certain. Good stuff. And in a similar sort of vein, Tommyknockers. So this is New English Library published a lot of early Stephen King, and they published most of the early James Herberts as well. So two big names in the world of horror. And I've started picking up Stephen King in paperback first. There's no way I'm going to be able to get the Richard Bachmans, not unless I get lucky. I haven't got any of them anyway. And I'd probably be happy just to get the Bachman books, which has got the 4 expensive ones in there. But they're like £1,000 paperbacks in nice condition. So I very much, unless I get lucky, I don't expect to come across those. Although I've had at least 1 or 2 of them in the past through my hands. But that was before they were really collectible. But this was, the thing is, by this point, Stephen King was so massive. Something like this, even in paperback first, would have had a print run of probably 250,000, maybe even more than that. So this is the first New English Library. This is an early export edition, New English Library paperback edition, 1989. Even though this is, 35 years old now, this was just in Morris's £1 section because it's a common book, because it had such a massive print run in its day. So I don't expect to struggle too much with some of the Stephen Kings, but obviously the earlier ones, particularly in half decent shape, are going to be harder to find. I picked up a couple of Asimovs, in fact a few Asimovs off Morris. He's got loads there. He's got pretty much the guy's entire output. Predominantly British editions, which is how I'm collecting Asimov. And I recently got I, Robot, which was in digit, where they spelt his name wrong. But this is like 1984 in Granada. If you pick that up online, you might find it for £3 online, but then they're going to charge you another £3 for postage. Now, the only thing is, with this one, it had this little bit of, oh, look at that, it's actually come off. I noticed it had that little bit of paper on the front, or a sticker, and it's literally just come off in my hand. So that, in actual fact, is pretty cool. It's got that amazing Chris Foss jacket. And all right, it's not crispy mint, but it's pretty nice, really. It'll be good enough for me for a book of that size. And we have got a bit more Asimov later on. This was an odd crime one, once again. I thought it was really nice condition. It's one I don't remember seeing with the moth on the front there. Typical Penguin sort of 60s weirdness, really, isn't it? I think it's about 66, I think it is. 1965. Very unusual indeed. And now at the bottom of this pile, this one, which was once again from the pound section in Morris's shop, Russell Hoban, Turtle Diary. A really nice cover on that one. And if you find these in nice condition, you can do very well indeed. And this was a very nice one. It does say it's the first Picador in 1977. However, I don't believe that is correct, because it wouldn't have a $5.99 on the back. So what I suspect has happened is this has been rebound, or they've completely neglected to update. Here we are. This Picador edition, published in 1991, that's a bit more like it. So this is the 1991 Picador, but it first came out in 77. So I think it might be a Picador reissue with a different jacket, possibly. A little research, I feel, is possibly required there. Now we've got a few hardbacks which are crying out to be cleaned up. So these are from the British Science Fiction Book Club. And we'll do the inside of the book first, but these were picked up from Jack Ryder Books in Liscard, and he must have had about 30 there. And I believe I picked up 3 out of 5 each, but I noticed one of them was 15, but he let me have it for a £5. So he said to me that he had a collection of about 120 of the Science Fiction Book Club come in a hit, and a guy came across them and went out with a carrier bag full. He bought like about 20 of them, and he thought, oh, I need to give this a brush. He thinks he actually got rid of them too cheaply, and I said, well, maybe he did, but maybe the guy just wanted them, because I think these particular editions are really nice reads. that makes sense. So these actually feel good reads in the hand. Look at the nice clear text. They're not a bad read at all. And in some cases, maybe not this one, but in some cases, the books were the first time that they were put into hardback, because some of these were like paperback originals originally. So yes, there's quite a few of them. I think just to collect the initial run, there's 170, which is a fair old whack, and I've maybe got 20 now, or thereabouts, maybe slightly more. But I picked up another 3 down at Jack Ryder's. So let's go. This is the other one, Louis Chardonnay. It's going to have fiver inside. But yes, considering I was really hoping to have a quiet month for pickups, I've ended up getting far more than I thought I would. But sometimes, you know, you just got to go with it, haven't you? You know how it is. Okay. This is the last of the science fiction book clubs. This is the one that I should have checked, really. I didn't know. I suspect I might actually have this one. And ironically, in Jack Ryder books, when I went back through this, it was when he didn't have it a fiver. It was, he had 12 quid on it, which I was really surprised at. So, not sure what was going on there. There were a few that he had that were priced that I would have had, and he had New Maps of Hell by Kingsley Amis, which is one I'm looking for, and that came out in the Science Fiction Book Club, and he had 15 on that one, which was a bit much than I wanted to pay. In wrapper, in a nice wrapper. Definitely some foxing along the top, but giving it that good brush does make quite a bit of difference with regards to the muck on them, you know. We might as well do this one as well. So this is an upgrade to a book that I've already got. It's an absolutely cracking read. So you've probably heard of Mario Puzo, the guy who wrote The Godfather, and this is the Godfather Papers, and this was basically Mario Puzo's story after he'd written the first after he wrote The Godfather and he wrote the screenplays with Coppola to Godfather 1 and 2. Once he'd received all that worldwide acclaim and become a very big name in his own right as an author and writer, he then became very wealthy. And unfortunately, he was a bit of a gambler, and he ended up blowing a lot of his fortune gambling. And this basically tells that story. It's not bad. I mean, I think it's a really good book. I actually really enjoyed it, which is why I had my original copy out fairly recently, and the back of the dust wrapper being like torn. So this needs a really good polish, which I will do towards the end, and this will come out really nicely. But I didn't want to turn that down for £2.50. This next one I got off eBay. Now this was a bit of a special thing. So this is a Paperbacks in print. Now Paperbacks in print came out annually. This is a monthly one just for October 1960. I've got other years where they're really thick, they're like an inch thick, but this was the one just for October 1960. And the reason I bought it was because it had that lovely Pan advert on the back. And I paid £6 for this, so it was all right. But then when I received it, I was really pleased with the condition. I was going through and I was looking at one of the real highlights with these is the adverts by the publishers, and you can see what they've got out, you know. And it said all the big publishers took adverts out in this one, and obviously if it's a publisher I'm interested in, it's quite nice to see what they've got. But I was flicking through, and then just like this, I thought, oh, what's this there? And then in the middle, next to a Corget, was a copy of the Pan record. Now this is quite a late one. This is the Pan record for number 31. I think they only went up to, this may even be the very last one they did. It's got a little bit of writing on the back, but this was a Pan record I didn't have. And they hardly ever turn up. I mean, they really, really hardly ever turn up. So this was great. So I was really, really pleased with this one. Look at that. I had no idea that that was even in there. It wasn't mentioned in the eBay listing. It was just slipped inside like that, because it's January 61, and this was dated October 60. I reckon Pan just put a copy into it. They sent them to put one inside every copy of Paperbacks in print. But yeah, it's quite, I mean, it's pretty niche, you know, but because there's so many British publishers that I collect, I was over the moon. And I quite like looking at these. They are full of information. Look at that, for Penguin's 25th anniversary, stuff like that. It's lovely, isn't it? It is, you know, designed for the trade. And this would have been sent, all bookshops probably would have subscribed to this. And if someone came and said, oh, can you get me this? They would have been able to act on it. But there we are. Look at that. Yeah, look, index to the advertisers down the bottom there. You can see all the main publishers were there. Panther Books was page 81. Let's have a look at that. What did Panther advertise? The Bramble Bush, and the Russian Revolution, and My Glorious Brothers. But I guess that was what they were publishing that particular month. So there we are. But yeah, quite nice, that one. Thought you'd enjoy seeing that. That was certainly one of my finds of the month, that one. And I think we've got time to do this before we take a break. So this was also from Jack Ryder's books, and it's a Puffin box of magic. Look at this. Now this is a little bit later than my traditional period. It's post ISBN, which is not something I generally delve into with Puffin. So these are from 71 and 1972, but it was in a box set. The box set, including the 4 books, was only a £5, so I can't really complain. So I'm just going to go through the book. All the books are reprint. At least one of them I've got the original printings of. See, 72. Like this one, I've actually got the original of this one in first Puffin edition. So the books are a little bit later than I would ordinarily pick up, but it was such a nice little box set. And as I said, I do like Penguin stroke Puffin slipcase sets that I couldn't turn it down for a £5. It was just too nice. Yeah, so the books are actually fine. It's just going to be a case of, we'll give them a bit of a polish and a brush when we get to that piece of the process. All right, more A format to play with now, and more Fox. I think this is one of the ones that was possibly on the upgrade list. Now, you may have seen I had a video on a chap. This is one of Dorset Bob's friends, Scott, who used to work for the BBC. Now, Scott runs a brewery nowadays, and I went up to Scott's brewery and filmed his Dalek. He actually owns 2 Daleks, if you can believe it. And I filmed Scott's Dalek because he's looking to move it on, basically, to new owners, and that was really good. So if you've not seen that video, Scott is also going to be giving away a whole box of original sort of Dalek bits and pieces and props and stuff that he used as templates when they were making the Daleks almost 20 years ago now. And all you need to do is sort of share that video online, leave a little comment, and you could be in with a chance of winning it. So that'd be really cool, you know. That was nice, really nice cover on that one. Yeah, it's a bit tanned, but at the same time, I think it's quite, really the first one I've ever seen of it, so I think it might be quite uncommon. Nova 4, I've got some Nova, edited by Harry Harrison. but definitely not this one. This is from Dorset Bob, I remember. It's American, and with Harry Harrison, his regular sort of books, I have been trying to pick up the American editions rather than the British, although I've got a little bit of both, really. Yes, this is published by Manor, not perhaps the best of publishers that you might expect, but it is what it is. This one I was very pleased because I've been after a copy of this for a little while. Quite an odd science fiction film here at Phase 4, but one that I like. And this one is by Barry Malzberg, who's a great author. I've read a bit of him now. And yeah, I haven't watched Phase 4, the movie, for quite some time, but it's on my list of ones to revisit, shall we say. But yeah, 1973, a movie tie-in. Yeah, I was pleased with that one. Nice copy of that one on the whole. Here's another Stephen King. Once again, it was from Morris's £1 section. Perhaps a little, on reflection, a little bit beaten up, but I might actually read this one, this copy, until unless a better one comes my way. Thinner, and this was first published in 1985 by the New English Library in paperback. So it might be alright. It does need a bit of a clean, but it is the first printing. It's the exact one I read when I was a kid. Although yeah, it is finished. It is the edition that I read as a kid when I was growing up. Now this one, I suspect now I might actually have a copy of this, but it was in Morris's £1 section, so it can always go into my box of swaps. But I'll compare it with my own copy first of all, of course. And it's actually the reprint, so it may be, because it's yeah, I might end up actually just taking this one into work and having a little read of it, that particular one. This is all right. This is an odd Fontana, one I'd ever seen before, in the red. Once again, perhaps a little bit the worse for wear, really, but at £1, sometimes you get caught up in the heat of the moment and it's too good to turn down. Yeah, 1964, but yeah, perhaps I should have shown some restraint, Jules. Now, what's this? The Expert Dreamers. Yeah, this is an X I didn't have. Now, it's got quite a bold price on the top there. It looks like it's in, you know what they call China pen, which is like a black crayon. I'm being quite gentle on it. It does appear to be coming off, slowly but surely. Yeah, I'm just doing it gently. You can see it's definitely looking better. Yeah, not too bad at all. I think that may be the best we can do. I don't want to damage the cover, but this is a very soft rubber, so it's hard. But I think the time we put some polish on that, the last little remnants of that will come off quite nicely. This is a nice copy for my Pan collection. Much more fussier with my Pan books than some other publishers. This is another one which is in the pound section. Morris. Oh dear. That's a shame. I should have checked that one a bit more thoroughly, shouldn't I? That's probably why. So that's going to have to go into my swap box. I'll put that to one side. John Brunner. Got the pen in there, but apart from that, he's all right. I think I can live with that. It's got a little circle on there, which I suspect I'll be able to polish out. That one. And then the last one in this pile is another one. It's got a few little spots there, which I'm going to hopefully be able to polish out again. But once again, what one that I've got? Yeah, the 7th Galaxy Reader. Good stuff. Now this one was also from Morris, and it's an empty slipcase which he gave me for free. I actually have the 4 volumes of Somerset Maugham's collected short stories. It's not mint. It's got a little star on the side here, which I think is probably going to have to stay there. It looks like it's stuck on for good. I don't think that's going to come off. But he just gave me the box set, and as I said, I've got the original books, which I'm hoping I'll be able to squeeze into that little box. So I'm going to give that a bit of a polish in a while. Let's get some more A format. In fact, it's almost, I think, almost all A formats to come now. So this was in the Pound bookshop. It's just really, really nice. I may well come across a better copy of this, but until I do, this, first from December 1970, that New English Library. It's that crossover period, so it says Nell, but it's also got a 4 square number, 2814, and very nice. I mean, this one here, for example, Morris had 5 copies in the £1 section, so I picked up what I believe to be the best one that he had for sale at £1, and he had more copies back at his warehouse. This is the reprint from June 1970. I'm not overly worried that it's a reprint, because I just want sort of nice copies really of that, and that's definitely that. This one I've already got, but it's such a cool one, and I wanted just to double check, because potentially this is a little upgrade. It was, once again, it was only £1, but I've definitely got a spare of this one. Latest Penguin Pan science fiction, one I don't have. This is post Pan numbering, 1970, only just though. It's part of the M series. This is a Barry Milesburg. Now I know it had that big horrible sticker on the front, which does indeed spoil it a bit, but I think it's pretty unusual, this, you know. The Messengers. I love it when they put adverts in like that. Cigarette adverts. Come on. It was another time, wasn't it? Let's be honest. Yeah, so a bit pulpy, this one. Not the best of publishers. Prestige Books. 1973. So no real idea. I don't know a lot about this. I suspect it could be quite scarce. The person I know who is a great Milesburg expert is Steve, the Outlaw Books. In fact, I think he's actually been in contact with him via email a few times. So he's aware of all this stuff. And yeah, don't know about that, but, you know, interesting all the same. I picked up a couple of these. There's another one to come. A couple of doors. This is door 426, Asimov's great SF stories. Not mint, but it'll do. I haven't got any of these. It is unread, and it wasn't too expensive. It's like £3 or something, you know. So 1981. So I got a couple of 4 squares. Hoping it's playing a bit hard to get. Is it going to let me in? Here we are. Cool. That was designed never to be opened, wasn't it, that one? The Man Who Rocked the Boat. So this is number 77. So I'd very much like to get the first 100 4 square licked. And I'm not that far away. I'm over, I reckon I'm 2/3 of the way there. And in 1958. Lovely jacket, that one. Vernon. Very, very nice, that, indeed. So that's lovely. I also picked up a toucan. I got 2 toucans from Morris. This is toucan number 10. There's about, we'll glue that in a minute. There's about, I think there's about 80 to 100 toucans in total. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. I've only got 20 in my entire collection. So, well, 22 now. I've got 2 more. A lot of them, I don't know about all of them, but a lot of them were printed in Plymouth, which is my hometown. I'm not sure about this one, but we'll see if it tells us. Hurst and Blackett. No, this one wasn't printed in Plymouth. This edition, it says May 1937. So yeah, it needs a little bit of glue in there. This would have originally come in a dust wrapper. So we've just got time to pop a little bit of glue on there. So it sort of goes over a little bit, it doesn't lie flat, but I think it'll be better than what was there. And we'll need to come back and give that a good brushing in a little while. Good stuff. Okay, so I'm back after a short break to do the second part of my latest pickups, and I was able to get a small batch of Collins White Circle books. Now these were from All You Need Is Books. This is Morris, and Morris ended up with a small box of them, probably about 50 or 60 in total, maybe a few more than that. And he had these at the £1 warehouse, but they were actually, these weren't £1. This is just where he'd sort of offloaded them in his lorry, in his van, and thankfully I was able to get first pick through, and I found about 6 that that I needed, basically ones I didn't have. Thankfully, these Collins White Circles are numbered. This is 189C, so I knew that I didn't already have this one. It's very, very difficult to work out the printings on these. So this one, for example, actually has no printing history whatsoever. Some of the earlier ones have the hardback printings, so it would have, say, 3 printings in hardback, then the 4th printing would be this, you know. So yeah, quite a tricky little publisher to determine, but I've got a few, and I'll try and give you an example of that in just a sec. So this one is actually slightly earlier, in fact so early, I don't know if yeah, it's number 30 in the series, and Mystery in Kensington Gore. So if we have a look at the printing history, it may do the, yeah, so here we are. So, first impression 1932, it lists all the different ones. Now, Collins Crime Club didn't really start until 1936, so the 6th printing potentially could have been the paperback, and this one here, June 37, may have actually been a reprint of that. But looking at the actual book itself and the other books that are listed, I'm pretty sure that this is a first. I don't know. I have got a list of the Collins Crime Clubs, but I don't know if I've got a list which says which printings were the first printings. I don't even think it actually exists. Certainly it does for the hardbacks, of course, but for the paperbacks, it's not an exact science. It really isn't. So ultimately, with these, I'm just happy to have a copy in as nice a possible shape as as I can find, and as early as I can find, basically. So not that I've ever had loads to compare them to, but I have had some, and I have had some doubles. And these on the whole, like that one for example, that's a pretty nice copy considering it's dating from about 1940, 1941. Certainly can't complain. I think I've got about 8 of these, but I just got these ones in this little wedge here. Yeah, very, very difficult to determine the printings. It is as simple as that. But not impossible. Right, now we've got a few more of those Fox novels, the New English Libraries. Now, talking once again about the Collins. So I recently, fairly recently, did bag up all my Collins ones. So there's a few titles here that have been through the cleaning process, and all my copies have all been now bagged up, like my Toucans, for example, the Collins Crime. So once we've cleaned them, I am actually going to bag them so that my most recent acquisitions are all bagged as well. So we'll do that as we go along, because then they can join their other bagged colleagues of the series, as it were. This was the last one, and it was a slight variation of the theme there. They changed the logo and that. Not such a fan of these, but it was the last one. Yeah, this Fox lot wasn't bad. I'm really looking forward to reading them. As you can see, they're very, very quick reads. Probably done in an afternoon, really, but we don't mind that. Right, I think this is possibly the last Stephen King. I just got a handful. This is Cujo. This is probably the earliest one I got. Can't remember exactly how much. It's got a bit of foxing and stuff on, but it is first Future edition, 1982. I'm not sure if this is the first one after he parted company with the New English Library. Not 100% sure, but very pleased to get that one. Another one of those sort of mid-60s Penguin Crime. And yeah, look, this one, cover design by Alan Aldridge. Not one of his more famous ones, probably quite an early one for him, in actual fact. Is it 1965? Yeah, 1965. So yeah, not a typical Alan Aldridge there, but nice none the same. Right, Foursquare. Now this is a Foursquare wide boy, and I call them a wide boy because look, they're like half a centimetre wider, ever so slightly taller, but. And there's a few Foursquare like this. This is another one under 100, number 91. I don't really know the reasoning behind it. It's like maybe some that were printed at a particular publisher ended up being published as these slightly wider editions. I don't know whether it was because of the number of pages. This has got just under 400 pages. So whether that has anything to do with it. But, it is what it is, really. A bit of an unusual phenomenon, that. I got a couple of these Charles Williams Faber paperbacks. Faber paperbacks generally, or Faber paper covered editions as they're called, generally don't turn up that often in nice condition, and I do only want them in the first printings, and this one is indeed that. It was 1968 in Faber for that one, Shadows of Ecstasy. Another one here, The Place of the Lion, which I believe is a very sort of a similar age, I think. $1965, so that one's actually slightly earlier on that one. And a couple more, the last of our B formats today, so we are coming to fairly near the end. This is quite an early one, a Robert Coover, and I think this is from the second year, 1973. So this is the second year of Picador, because I started in 72. Lower grade, but I didn't want to leave that behind. And then this is the last Picador, Jim Grace. This is 1987. Got some tanning on the front and back there, but once again, I'll live with that for the time being. Weird, isn't it? It's so difficult to pick these Picador books up in really, really nice condition. So let me just make a bit of room. Okay, the last little batch now, a little Foursquare there. Not seen this one before, The Long Weekend. Robert Graves and Alan Hodge. £2.50 inside. Yeah, first Foursquare, 1961. And Morris had quite a bit of Foursquare, which he does keep separate, sort of the vintage Foursquare. He doesn't keep the New English Library separate, but he does keep Foursquare. This was the this is quite a scarce Philip Jose Farmer. It's been on my list for blimmin' ages, so I was really pleased to get it. It's Philip Jose Farmer's take on Sherlock Holmes. It's been savagely taped down here, but we should be able to get in. Cool, there we are. That was a bit of a battle. Yeah, The Adventures of the Peerless Peer. Yeah. Quite a scarce one, this. Scarsdale, look at that. 1976. Yeah, quite a scarce one. I was really pleased to get that one. This is another one which has been sort of sealed away in a really old tatty bag. But underneath, I believe it's going to be all right. Yeah, a bit dusty. Pan Science Fiction, Leonard Daventry. It's X650. It's one I haven't got. Took a bit of a punt, hoping it's a first, and it is. 1967. A Man of Double Deed. This was a nice one. Asimov Opus. Look at the size of it. It's enormous. Another one of those Granada ones. Real classic. Huge book. It's yeah, just under 700 pages. This one was published. Yeah, it's a reprint of Opus 100 and 100 and 200, published in this edition in 1982. Look at that. That's quite nice, that, isn't it? And it's a really nice unbroken spine. Oh, there was another Stephen King. Well, it was one of his Richard Bachman ones, The Running Man. This is the movie tie-in edition. I wonder if I had filmed that. I seem to remember it being a bit of a laugh. New English Library 1983. Originally, that was under Richard Bachman. And this is the movie tie-in one from 1988. So a slightly different jacket on that. This was in the pound section. I got to pick this one really more up to read than anything else. It's an odd Clifford Simak in Panther. 1962. I don't actually have a copy at all, but he is a little on the low grade side. So I think I'm probably just gonna, yeah, it's got a spine split at the bottom, and we can't really do a lot about that. So I'm probably just going to keep that as a reader for now. Oh, I've got a few more Collins. This one unfortunately got a bit of Tipp-Ex on the front. Someone had put 5p on and then Tipp-Ex'd it out. It's number 86. I suspect this one is a reprint, not a first printing, in actual fact, but it's one I haven't got at all. So it is what it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure because of that advert on the back that this is actually a later printing. But you never know. Look at number 86. The numbering on the crimes does only go up to number 87, so maybe not. Maybe that is the first. I'll have to compare it against the other books in the collection around that period. This is number 176. Bad for Business. Scarce wartime issues. A few pages turned over here. There we are. Ready for its brush. And then The Click of the Gate, Alice Campbell's number 65. Got a little 40p in there. And a little dedication from 1939 by the look of it. very, very dusty, so it'll benefit from the brush in a minute. Yeah. Yeah, very nice. Now, I was really pleased to get this. I actually found a Panther crime band that I didn't have. In actual fact, Morris, in his main warehouse, had, I think, 3 that I was after. Oh, look at that. Evans Bookshop. That was in, yeah, Ebrington Street in Plymouth. I remember that. I remember going in that one vaguely as a kid, actually. God, I haven't thought about that place for a long time. It was around into the 90s, actually, as I recall. But yeah, so he had about 3 Panther crime bands that I didn't have, but that was only one that was up to scratch condition wise. Another one of these Asimov presents, a little bit lower grade, but once again, I'm not altogether too fussed about it. It's another door off the list. So that was 2 this time round. I haven't been focusing on the door because, to be quite honest, where I've got them stored, I'm a little pushed for space. So I don't have any expansion room, as it were. The door shelf is full. More than full, in fact. However, when these ones come along, I want to grab them, really. Here was the second toucan, and once again, it needs a bit of glue in a sec. Number 50. So I got 2 toucans that I didn't have this trip round. He had at least another one there, but I already had it. I mean, they're not mega collectible or anything. There are a couple of collectible titles in there, in the toucans. I think it's a couple of Simonons, but generally speaking, the list isn't like fantastic or anything. But they're very, very distinctive with their with the toucan on the front there. I mean, they really are. Yeah, so that is going to need a bit of glue in there. Yeah. So I think we'll probably be able to get away with just gluing that straight down. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use that as a bit of a base. I'm going to get my new glue and point it in there. This has really proved to be quite useful, this glue. As I said, it is what is known as dedicated bookbinders glue, and I'll start to include a link to it. So if you want to get some, it's not cheap. It's about £8 a jar. Look, it's glue it bookbinding glue. It's about £8 per pot off Amazon, but I suspect it's going to last quite some time, longer than the Pritt stick, and I know it dries clear. And as you can see, we are able to glue stuff with some precision, which is, I think, the key to it. So it's a little bit easier to apply than sticking it on with a screwdriver and Pritt stick, which is what I have been doing. And so if you get any excess, you can just take it off with your hands. But where there's a little bit of glue there, I know that's going to just dry clear, so I'm not fussed about it at all. Just pushing it in there. Just give that another 10 seconds. There we are. I think that's going to be absolutely fine. Right, well, as you can see, there's another Asimov left. We've got a handful of books left now. So this is Fantastic Voyage 2, Destination Brain. Now, I've got to admit, I've never read this. I know the basic plot, and I was a real fan of the first Fantastic Voyage. I love the book and the film, so I am going to give this one a try. I know it was a big deal when it came out. They were doing a sequel to Fantastic Voyage, but I've no idea how well it went down with fans. A big thick graft in here again, 1987. So once again, I was pleased to get this just because of the sheer size of it. I'll give it a nice brush. I'll give it a polish. I think that's going to look really great. And a couple of Collins to finish off then. So the Wraith, Philip MacDonald, number 84. And these early ones, of course, would have been in dust wrappers. None of these have got wrappers with them. 1939. Yeah, it's a little bit the worse for wear, this. Got some pen, or pencil, or pen and pencil in actual fact. But it's all vintage, it's not modern. And this bit has had something there and someone's torn it out, or they've tried to rub it. But I shall just leave that as is for now. These are so scarce, you know, that you can overcook it. And this was actually a pretty nice copy of this one, that Mystery at Friar's Pardon, Martin Port. This probably had a wrapper on until recently, and someone took the wrapper off, and then, well, the wrapper's really protected it by the looks of it. Number 42. Yeah, it's a nice copy of that one. I said there's not any sort of definitive list, at least not that I know of, for these Collins crime clubs. So everything that I've learnt about them is just from my own sort of experiences, you know. And when you've got a nice run of them, you can sort of see the matching printing side by side. Anyway, that's all the books we're going to be looking at today, and just a few new ones that we've seen. I'm now going to sort through them and sort out the books. Well, they're all going to need a brush down, and then we're going to give them a polish. Right then, so next job is give all our books a brushing. Some will need a little bit more than others. Those early Collins ones there, very dusty, as we would expect. Some of these just look so much better once they've had a good brush. This is a mucky old part of the process. but it's got to be done. Got the Hobbit here, which we've had in the clip for a few hours. So we're basically training the book to be the correct. It's not so rolled, basically. This is something that's going to take a little bit of time, so I'm just going to leave it as is for now. And over there, we've just got the hardbacks. I've just got that one copy of Paperbacks in print, which I don't think it had hardly any dust on anyway. So there we are. That's fine. So I'm just going to sort this out into stuff that I'm going to be polishing and non-polishing. So I'll do that next. This is that Penguin Anna Lane gift book. I just noticed it had like gilt along the top there, a gilt edging on it, which is very nice. All right, let's give these big format stuffs a brush. The Fabers aren't actually B format, but they aren't A format either. They're sort of somewhere in between. And I've just seen on the back of this paper drawer there's actually a something there now. I don't know if I grab my rubber, if that's actually in pencil or pen. It's hard to tell. Ah, pencil. It's coming straight off. That's lucky. There we go. Cool. Lovely. that was a big old pile of stuff. I think all of that is okay to be polished. So slide all that in there. This one, of course, isn't, but we've cleaned it up as good as we possibly can. So that can go onto that pile there. And that leaves 2 more piles to get through. It's that book set. These actually look nice copies, actually. There we are. So just one more stack to do. Right, last little lot. Last little batch. There we are. Lovely. So that's everything brushed. Last stage is polishing, and we're going to be bagging a few as well. Right, bit of a change of pace, so I'm going to do the stuff that I need to bag first of all. Now, these toucans, they may be of such a size that they may or may not fit in my normal sized paperback bags. They may have to go in digest. I can't quite remember. Oh, actually, that fits in absolutely fine by the look of it. Is it going to go? Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Let's get another one out here. Oh, that's good. Getting quite near the end of this bag. Yeah. I'm bagging these ones up now because A, they don't need a polish. I can't polish them because they've got matte covers, so we can't get any polish near these. And also, all the rest of my toucans have already been bagged up recently, so these can just join the collection once I've catalogued them. They're clearly numbered, so there's no issues there. So I can add these to my thing, but they are really nice. I said there's about 100, so I haven't even got quite a quarter of them, but one day, you never know. Just need to come across that elusive toucan collector who's decided to sell them all to me, and then we'll be in good shape. Now, this is that Christmas book, and I'm hoping that this will go in a bag. All my actual Alan Lane Christmas books are already bagged up. It's one of the few bits of my collection that are bagged, and that's simply because, well, they are pretty delicate and special. And is that going to go in? Very, very tight, but let's see. Is he going to slide in? No. So with this one, then I'll just get out a digest bag rather than force it. And these are just that little bit wider, a little bit taller, and it will get this one in without any trouble. I mean, it's nothing to look at, but I suppose if you received it as a gift back in, when was it, 1948, direct from Sir Alan, you would have been pretty pleased. I would guess, you know. And there's a fair old few Alan Lane Christmas books if you're looking to collect them. Generally, when they turn up, they are usually expensive. That's the problem, and some of them are well over £100 a book. So it's not it's not a cheap series rather to collect, but you might be tempted. And then the rest of them, I believe, are all Collins Crime Club titles. Yeah, they are. See, my paperback's in print. I'm not going to bag that one yet. And then with these Collins Crime ones, of course, I got my Hobbit, which has to stay there. I think the early ones are all going to have to go into a digest bags, and these ones here, those three later ones, I suspect will fit in paperback bags. So we'll try and do those three first, because when these were published, of course, it was during the Second World War, and there was paper rationing going on. So consequently, they're not as thick as the earlier books, the pre-war ones, and every sort of economy was made, including trimming a few millimeters off the sides of the books as well. So they're not such lavish productions, is what I'm getting at, but still very, very nice, very iconic, really. The Collins Crime Club logo is perhaps one of the most iconic of all, isn't it? So, as I said, all my other ones I have already bagged up in a separate video, and there was quite a few of them. I've not got too bad a collection of these. But at the same time, I don't know anybody else who actually collects them. I've given a couple to my sisters, a couple of my spare Agatha Christie's. I know there's some overseas ones which are really nice, and you do see people buying those off eBay and paying big money for them, like the services, some of the service editions, the Indian editions, and what have you. I've got examples of them all, but I don't really know anyone who collects them outright. My friend Gary Levisi over in America has got quite a run of Canadian white circles, and they're really nice. They've all got illustrated, I think they've all got illustrated covers rather than these, which are like generic. So these big thick ones, I'm not going to try and squeeze them into normal bags. They're going to go straight into digest bags. Now that one I've just spotted, it's got a little 9A on the front. How did I miss that? Quality control, you see, you can't get the stuff. Look at that. After all we've been through, I still managed to miss something right obvious, right on the front cover there. I don't know. Yeah. These are nice though, I gotta say, these are really, really nice. Oh, look at that, and on the back. But someone's put some pencil on the back. I completely missed that. That should be plain. And someone's decided to put some pencil on. Like a bit of vintage graffiti, in effect. Thankfully, they did do it in pencil, so that's come up nice and clean again. Oh, blimmin' heck. Honestly, so much for my rigorous cleaning techniques here. I completely missed that. I don't know. Amateurs, rank amateurs they got working here. Now, the only problem with these digests is because I do need a digest, it means I always got to fold over the side, which, it is inevitable. There's nothing you can really do about it. And I don't mind. The main thing is I'm giving these, you'll notice that I'm bagging up my most earliest paperbacks. And the reason for that is because they're just the ones that are most vulnerable. It is as simple as that, really. They're the ones that need the most protection. So I've done all my Albatross books now, and by doing this I'll have all my Collins all bagged up, which is good. And you can find videos of me doing these on the channel, or on my dedicated book cleaning channel, which you may or may not have had a chance to check out. It's just under 2,000 subscribers over there, so it's not massive, and I only do one video a week, but I have been managing to get through my collection and getting as much bagged up and cleaned as I possibly can, and it's made a huge difference to the overall look of the collection now. It really has. But these, they just look so nice, don't they? I think they're gorgeous. I really do. Even when they're not quite mint like this one, which is a bit of a slightly lower grade one. But it will certainly do me until a better one should come along. I said, it's not like I've ever gone onto eBay and deliberately tried to track all the missing ones down, because I haven't. But when I come across them, I've generally got my list on me and I can quickly check which ones I might need. And that was exactly what happened on my recent trip to Morris at All You Need Is Books. He'd had that box of these from the auction, and I was able pretty much, he hadn't got around to sorting them yet or pricing them, so I was able to get them before they hit his general stock, which was rather lucky. But just reading a book like this, number 65, it's probably from 1936, 1937, the weight of it, it's just absolutely magic. It's a real experience reading classic crime in an edition that was published all those years ago. There's just something really special about it, and it's difficult to put into words, but that is where you get sometimes the absolute most satisfaction from collecting vintage paperbacks or vintage books in general. It's knowing the book and the history perhaps that it's been through, or even not knowing its history, but it's the fact that it's a really old book that somehow has managed to survive the ravages of time and war, and managed to get into your collection. And it's That's the joy of, I guess, being a paperback collector. Look at that. I have no idea what that book's about, but I just know, I know it's an absolute cracker. I'm certain of it. It's just got that feel about it. So you're getting a bit of everything now, and this is how it will be going forward. If it's a book that's already been, if it's a book series and I'm adding to it, and it's a book series that I've already been through, cleaned and bagged up, I will definitely bag them as we go along, so that it keeps the collection, complete and everything bagged up. So I can just slide these into my Collins White Circle collection, which is actually in the office, so quite easy to get my hands on these actually. And this is the last one. There is an odd compact book to bag up later on, because I have bagged all my compacts, and in actual fact this week I'm about to bag up 100 or so of my earlier door books. I'm going to start doing what I would call a bit of an audit, really, a door audit, because I've got them. I know which ones I've got and which ones I haven't, but a few of them are reprint, and some of them I've got white faded spines, which I don't particularly want. So I'm going to be doing that this week with a bit of luck. Lovely. Right, pretty much the final step of the process is to give some of these books a polish, which I shall do now. So I've got my trusty Mr. Sheen, and a soft cloth, and some of them are going to need a little bit more than others. Some of them, even polishing them is not going to make that much of a difference, but I like to give books that can be polished the once over, really, if I can, because it's amazing what you can get up sometimes with just a very, very light, gentle polish, which is all I try and do really on these. Belmont Tower. I picked this one up because it was, in actual fact, particularly nice condition for this book, so I think I'll do all right on that one. Lovely cover on this one. Not sure if it's Bruce Pennington or not. He doesn't always sign them, and some of the books were done to ape his style, so it looked like a Bruce Pennington. So it does make it quite difficult to really pin down who did what. But it's a lovely cover all the same to that one. It really is. So. A nice foresquare once again. Just a few little sort of marks and fingerprints on it, but really nothing much when you think about it. And the polish really does just get those last bits of fingerprint marks off, and has revealed underneath what is a particularly nice book. Indeed. Yeah, one of their true crime titles. That very nice. Speaking of door, I shall be digging my doors out this week. At least the first, a good box load, shall we say. It's going to take a while to go through them all, but I'm going to do a proper audit. I'm going to bag them as well. But I don't want to do that until I've really got a comprehensive listing of what's what with them, which ones are reprints, which ones definitely need upgrading. You know, they got yellowed spines and that. We don't want yellow spines if we can help it. Faded spines rather. We want bright yellow with door if you can find them. But it's not always possible, sadly. You have to just accept what you can get. Now I'm filming this on a Sunday, and it's quite a nice Sunday afternoon, and there's I can hear a few children playing in the gardens and what have you nearby. So if it gets too noisy, I'll knock it on the head, but at the moment they're absolutely fine. I won't get my air rifle out just yet to take them out. Just kidding. Ha ha ha. But I was hoping to finish this today. As expected, this is always the way. I end up getting much more book-wise than I thought. And I've not hung around today, and I haven't had that many new publications to review either. So last time, if you remember, I had absolutely stacks of stuff that had all been published at the same time. And I like to, anything new like that, I like to give either a dedicated review or at least a mention that's been published on my monthly pickups video. And then last month there was a lot that I did both of. They had reviews and they had mentions on the pickups video. So they had double dipping, but that doesn't matter because I just make you aware of what's what. I said the main bit of news really this week is the fact that potentially there's going to be another paperback fair outside of the London one. I've got, personally nothing to do with it. I haven't organised it at all. It's just been organised by the dealer Morris and Dorset Bob. They're the ones who've and it's very, very local to them, so it's just going to be like a local book fair that they're putting on, but it will be quite paperback focused with other dealers coming along as well. So I shall definitely be going for it as long as I'm not already booked up, and I think you will do very well if you can make it yourselves. So as soon as I got the firm details, I shall of course let you know. I'd like to pick up some more Stephen King, to be honest. This one had the Cujo. That should be bright red. It's faded. At least I'm pretty sure it should be bright red. But apart from that, it's a pretty nice copy. And it was the first paperback edition. As I said, they came in big runs, although Cujo was slightly earlier. But I bet you even this in first printing had at least 100,000. I'd be amazed if it didn't. So it's good to get that. But I must admit, I've had a little bit of an issue with storage of late. It's just because I need a decent sort out, really. I have got room. It's just I am overdue a decent sort out, and I might film a new sort of shunting session, potentially. I've got quite a bit that needs to be filed away, really. Stuff that I've pulled out for recent videos, stuff over the last sort of 6 months that needs to go back into situ. Plus all the new editions as well, of course. So it's just those shunting session videos tend to take about three days to film because I do it in like chunks, and it's in the loft, a lot of it, which is not very well ventilated. It's absolutely fine, but it can get hot, I said we've still got high hopes of hopefully moving at some point this year or early next year, and then I'll be able to get that dream library put together, which is definitely on the agenda. And these are cleaning up really nicely now. Right, so I have 3 more stacks to go, and 3 reasonably big stacks at that, sadly, but that's okay because we're getting through them, and the books are looking all the better for it. Okay, so without delay we shall crack on. This is really dusty, this one. Not sure. Unfortunately, I don't have an accurate list of what Penguin science fiction I've got past the in the ISBN realm. Past the numbered penguins. I've only got the numbered stuff fully listed, so I'm going to get on the case with that because I picked up a fair bit of Penguin science fiction of late, and I know I need to have an accurate list so I don't start doubling up. Very gentle with this one here. Really just to get off any surface marks. You'd be amazed what will be on there. My badger collection is definitely on the agenda to get bagged up sooner rather than later, I think, because they're great, and I think they need to be bagged up really. More foxes. So it is getting a little bit noisy outside, so I'm going to do this little pile, and I think I'm going to call it a day for today. And I've just got a little bit left to do in the morning, and this video will be done and dusted. I have a little bit of editing to do, which I'm going to crack on and do, but yeah, it's such a beautiful day, and we've had such a rotten run of bad weather lately that I don't blame anybody getting out in their garden and enjoying it. So I think for now I'm going to knock this on the head. I've just got this last few books to do, and we've got one more to bag, and then I shall be back tomorrow morning. I'm going to carry on, so as far as you're concerned it'll be the blink of an eye, but for me it will be at least an overnight. But we haven't quite processed half of it, but we are definitely getting close to having done half of it. There's not much left to do. Actually, the music has stopped, so you never know, we might be in luck. This is the odd compact, that last one, which cost me £1, which is even better, wouldn't it? Who would have thought I would have found one of the books I needed for just £1? It's not mint by any means, but at least it's another one off the list. And this one also needs to be bagged up, so we'll slide them into a bag now, because I bagged all my compact already. There we are, like so. We just take that down. Unfortunately, the back garden music has started up again, so what I'm going to do, I will knock this on the head now, and I'll be back in the blink of an eye, but it'll actually be overnight. There we go. Good stuff. Right, so I actually came back the same evening, so it's actually the same day. It's a few hours later, and it's much quieter. Everyone seems to have gone in now for the evening. So I thought I shall strike while the iron is hot and get out here right now to finish off, if I can, because I want to. Ideally, I wish to get this video edited tomorrow. It's going to be another long one, which was not deliberate, I promise. It's just how it's come. These things happen, you know. Hopefully we'll have just enough polish for today. Some of these B format books are quite dirty. They do show up the dirt quite a bit. So they're going to need a real good clean in actual fact. Well, some more than others, I guess. Trying to make sure these are all in shot. Just adjusting the camera ever so slightly to get these in a bit centered. These ones are pretty nice. Anyway, a few little marks here and there. Nothing too serious. But the polishing part can be one of the longest stages, but we'll see how we get on. It's a little bit grubby, this one. It's better now. Yeah, some of these are definitely worse than others. I think that's a given. Ulysses. This next one was particularly bad, but it's also very early. It's an early one, so we'll let it off. And this is over 50 years old, this one now. So it's not the greatest of shape, but it will do as a filler until a better one comes along. And since I only paid £1 for it, I'm definitely not too worried at all. It did all right there. These two Fabers are actually really nice. So very much the cursory once over. That'll be fine. So don't often come across nice condition Fabers. They're usually absolutely hammered. And they didn't really do masses and masses of paperbacks. There is a little run of science fiction, which I wouldn't mind getting. There's about 5 volumes of it's like an anthology. I'm trying to remember who edited them, but it's someone of note. Well, that was something I could just scrape off, but sadly I can't. Right, that's another pile done. So we've got 2 piles left to polish. Okay, we'll do this book set. Don't think there's a lot we can do with it. It's just pretty much as good as it's going to get, probably. As I said, book sets tend to not survive in the greatest of shape, but this one was better than no box set. I've never seen it before, so yeah, pleased to get that little fella. Right, now I think before we do this pile of books, we'll do these 4 hardbacks. I get a clean bit of cloth. So we've already done the books. It's just a cursory once over on the quite thin dust wrappers that these science fiction book clubs have got. Actually, they are quite thin. But you'll notice that in some of the cases with this, all we're really doing is taking off a thin layer of dust that may have accumulated over many, many years, rather than removing specific stains, you know? Yeah, I'm really pleased to get it. It's a great read. I tell you, it really is a terrific read, this one. I would say it is unputdownable, particularly if you know a bit about how The Godfather came about. And Puzo had a very tough upbringing, really. He really struggled to make any sort of money as a writer, and he wrote for the men's adventure magazines before he finally hit big with the publication of The Godfather, which was an instant hit. This is before the movie. The book was an instant hit, and he then had the opportunity to work with Francis Ford Coppola and working up the screenplay to The Godfather and The Godfather 2, and it winning all those awards. Just terrific, really. Right, there we are. Lovely. So that's all them to one side. Right, with these paperbacks. This is another example of a book that's really just dusty rather than needing a specific clean per se. Yeah, quite pleased with that one. Yeah, see, that had some splashes of something which have come right up. Probably a coffee or something like that. And appear to have disappeared. Yeah, very pleased to get these. I remember seeing them in the shops and I remember reading them when I was a sort of a youngish teenager. And although the robot books are a bit basic, this later one isn't too bad at all. And even the early ones have got their charm. Yeah, it's come out actually pretty nice, that. I said there's not, he wrote a lot, Asimov, but there's not masses that I'm looking to get now. I've pretty much got a fairly decent run, and it's not been very difficult to get, even in paperback first edition. So as soon as I get the last few bits and pieces, I shall do a dedicated video, Asimov in UK paperback first, and we'll have a look over what I've actually got. But I reckon by the end of the year, I would have almost got it licked. I reckon. Glad to get a few Stephen King. I said he's not difficult to collect except the very earliest ones. So, and that's to be expected, really. Okay, we're on to the last pile now, but it is quite a big pile. In fact, this really should go on the next pile, the first pile, so we'll do these. Now, some of these penguin ones I can only give a very cursory polish to, and I'm also going to get a fresh bit of cloth again. This one's actually pretty nice condition. See, that one, in actual fact, I'm not going to put anything on that because that's an early handbook. This one's okay, just have a little touch. That one's the same, that Puffin. Have to be careful with some of these. Same with that one. And that one, in actual fact. So they cannot be done. This one, however, is okay. Yeah, I might give this one a watch tonight, actually, Phase 4. It's been ages. Absolutely years since I've last watched it. So I might give this one a blast. I have a copy on, not Blu-ray, I think I've got it on DVD. So I'll have to dig that one out of the old archive. I don't have many DVDs still, but I've got that one. Probably because I never got around to upgrading it onto Blu-ray. I don't think I love it that much. I just don't watch it enough. But another one that was more dusty than anything else. There we are. Last few bits to go now. Now, I think I've cleaned the box set. The actual books themselves are pretty nice, as I recall, but we'll need to give them perhaps a once over. But nothing too serious. In fact, I think they're absolutely fine, the books. And I said, you do find that with box sets. So a small confession. So I had this got Steve and Morris laughing the other day. So I said, when I was a kid, I used to love box sets, and I would go into WH Smith's, and they'd have like a Doctor Who box set, or they'd have Alfred Hitchcock and the Three Investigators box set, for example. There was a couple that I knew that I bought as a kid. And what I would do, I would slip the books out of the box set and slip in the books of the series that I didn't have. So I was guaranteed to get 4 books that I didn't actually already own. I guess that wasn't the intended plan by the publishers. I imagine they wanted to do it just to clear old stock, but that's how I did it. And I thought that was just the way you did it. You just chose the books you wanted. Of course, in hindsight, the Doctor Who ones came very specifically with certain books and certain printings, and that's very much been catalogued because some fans have had sealed ones which they've opened to find out which printings go with which book and stuff like that. So yeah, I must have mucked it up for some people. But hey, there you go. I was young. I didn't know I was doing anything wrong. Nobody stopped me. Just saying. So as we come to near the end, I've hopefully kept this one under 3 hours. I don't think it's going to be quite as bad as last month's, which was stupendous. It's like 3 hours or something. This one I think possibly might be just under 2, but in all honesty, I've actually lost track of time. I've done so many little segments to it, and I've come back over time, so I don't actually know how long this one's going to be, but I'm hoping it won't be much longer than a couple of hours. But thank you if you have stayed with me to the end. I know some of you really like the long videos, and you come back and watch them in parts, which is absolutely fine, of course. Whatever way you like, I don't mind at all. I'm just glad you're watching and continuing to watch. Thanks as always to my Patreon and channel members for helping support the channel. Very much appreciated. Thank you for you, even if you're not a Patreon or channel member, just being subscribed, which costs nothing, but really does help the channel out a bit. Really does, so thank you for subscribing. And if you've not, please just hit that button. It's not going to cost you a penny. There we are, we've got that circle of that John Brunner. Getting that looking nice and clean now. That's good news. Lovely. So yeah, thank you for watching today. It has been an epic of sorts, but not too bad. Got some really great stuff coming up on the channel, which I'm very excited about, and keep an eye out for any announcements about the paperback fair, which was mentioned by Morris, which they've penciled in for July at some point, a Sunday in July. But as soon as we get more details and it gets confirmed, I'll definitely spread the word on here so you get a chance to go along. But I'm definitely intending to go along, let's put it that way, as long as I am free. And there we are, the last book. Brilliant. So, I shall see you again very soon with another video. Good stuff. Bye.